into your late 40s, early 50s are irreversible. He says, you got to take care of it now. So I decide over a period of time to go for the gastro bypass surgery. Very invasive surgery where they actually take out your stomach. There's a few different types of this operation, but mine was where they actually remove your stomach. And I went in and did this. And I want to tell you that this probably wasn't the smartest thing that I've done. I also want to tell you that God sent people my way, amazing enough, to tell me not to go to this operation. And they were spiritual people. They believed in God. But I thought they were saying it like, oh, we just worry about you because you're going for an operation. But the truth of the matter is, they really heard from God that I shouldn't really go for this operation. But when you're battling an addiction or a problem, and you could relate to this, there's people right now that could relate to this, to get freedom from this weight addiction, I would do anything. So, I took the cotton out of my mouth and I put it in my ears, and I didn't hear what anyone had to say. And I ran to this hospital. And these doctors, they're great doctors, don't misunderstand me. But they're salesmen, they're selling an operation, that's how they make money. And they convinced me this was going to be the greatest thing that I did. But I tell you, I wish, now that I look back, and I wish I would have listened to people. And I tell you, there's people right now under the sound of my voice. God sends people to you to speak to you, to give you guidance, give you the road. Sometimes they don't even say they're doing it in the name of God, but they are God's messengers. And some people really actually come to you that God said, thus saith the Lord. I want to tell you today, one thing I really want to make indelibly marked in your mind. Take heed what people are saying. Listen, evaluate it. Even if somebody comes to you and talks to you about God or even about Christ, evaluate what they're saying. Think about what they're saying. We're so quick today to be so judgmental. Hear me, we judge everything. We judge by the way we were brought up. There's things that are in us that just make us very judgmental. But I want to tell you that when I went in for this operation, the operation at first was a success. The doctor sent me home. After 3 days of me being home, I started to get terrible pains in my stomach. And as I got these pains, you know when you're sick. You know when you're starting to go into a realm that's not familiar to you. God has put that mechanism in us. And I remember sitting on my easy chair, and all of a sudden my eyes rolled behind my head, and I was out. And it was the most frightening thing. If you've been through that, you understand. And I remember yelling for help, and nobody heard me at first. And then I came back to consciousness, and I yelled louder, help, help. And immediately my wife, and I remember telling my wife, call an ambulance, call an ambulance. Well, to make a long story longer, I want to say it this way, that I wound up in critical condition. That all of a sudden my life went right before me. And I remember laying in bed in a coma experience that I'll never forget as long as I live. And I want to tell you that nothing mattered to me. That when I went out and the doctors couldn't revive me, they couldn't do anything for me, they were so perplexed with my condition that they just threw their hands up. And what happened is they call it septic, and that's like a disease that runs through your body, a virus, an infection is even really the more common word. And not many people live through that. But I remember the doctor saying this to me. He says, Victor, we got a few different ways we're going to go with this. I'm going to take you into surgery and I'm going to operate and I'm going to try to close the leak. If that works, you'll be out of here in a week. If it doesn't work, you'll be out of here in 4 months. He said, but Vic, I got to tell you very honestly, it's very possible you'll never wake up again. I remember with all the faith that I claimed that I had, that I grabbed that doctor's hand and I said, Doc, please, with every bit of strength in me, don't let me die. And I remember him, didn't want to get